Good morning, traders. Welcome to our live weekly webinar here at Elite Currency. My name is Chris Forsick, and we're going to take a look at Zeus EA and also a few news updates. Of course, feel free to reach out through the chat if you have any follow-up questions, and we'll take a look at it right now, right here. And of course, you can also use the Google form to ask us anything during the week, and we'll address that in this live webinar as well. All right, so bit earlier than usual. Normally we have these webinars on Tuesdays, but today on Monday, as tomorrow I will be taking a small trip to the zoo with our toddler, so that seemed a good reason to move it forward. All right, or yeah, forward indeed. All right, let me get rid of this. All right, last week Zeus EA was in an unpleasant drawdown. And typically the drawdowns do not get that deep with Zeus EA. We've seen very consistent results over the years, and basically those drawdowns are very, very minor. But we always indicate that drawdowns can happen, and sometimes we do get them. Occasionally, every few months, we get a small drawdown. Last week, the drawdown I would say was more than small. This is maybe a small drawdown when you see those yellow lines diverting from the red lines. Those are small drawdowns, I would say. They get corrected after a few days. Last week was a bit more than that, I think, and was a decent drawdown, 50% according to these stats. But if I click on drawdown here, it seems more like 33. But whatever number you use, it of course saw the profits that were accumulated over the year basically removed. Now the good news was that was not it was a floating loss and not a closed loss. So the system went into defense mode and it recovered nicely and even made a gain when you look at the closes. And now it's back into the consistent kind of daily day-to-day operations that we normally see with smaller gains but consistent gains every day. So despite the volatility, the account is up 7%. Now, I tried to explain in the article already, so perhaps you saw that this was really an exception. We have this EA running on multiple accounts with multiple brokers, and this broker was just a bit unlucky with the take profit. We're not blaming the broker in any way. We're just explaining that from a range of brokers, half a dozen, only one had this problem and the others didn't, right? And that can happen because the TP, the take profit, was missed in the Asian session at 2 a.m. GMT time by around a pip. And of course, in the Asian session, liquidity is thin and small price differences can kind of take place. And that is nothing strange about it. So it was just a little bit unlucky when that happened with this particular EA. And because the TP was missed and the trend was strong, those two factors combined caused this floating loss. But generally speaking, though, looking at these stats at least, the floating loss went just temporarily below the zero level before climbing back up. So as far as I can see, only some profits were risked, not much original capital, not much at least. And now it's back up to plus of almost 44%, a consistent climb. One of the other accounts, as you can see, didn't have that issue at all. Is this account, and no divergence between the red and yellow lines, so there was no floating loss on this one. This is up 70% with a lower drawdown, 25%, and here, as you can see, not exceeding the 2.5. So the drawdown is lower on this account quite clearly. So that just to indicate the difference there. So I wouldn't be worried about the system because of this clear difference in results between these two accounts, and the fact that this is more of this is an exception actually, and despite the exception, the EA managed to get itself out of that situation quite quickly, I think. So that's the good news. I mean, I can imagine it was quite stressed, a little bit of stress certainly, uh, for 1 or 2 days, but then everything went better again. So that's good. Let me see if there are any questions in the Google forum. No, not yet. Great. All right, so let me close the door because our cat seems to be active at the moment. I think I have to give her food, but I'll do that after the webinar. Okay. Let me see. No questions so far. All right, good. So yeah, that's my main thing was to explain the difference here. Um, but yeah, good monthly gains on average 5.4, 4.7, around that 5% mark per month, right? So about 15% per quarter, and at the same time offering full liquidity. Because of course, if you compare it to other financial instruments, for instance, if I buy a stock, there's no guarantee that I can necessarily exit that stock at a certain point. Actually, everyone recommends not to count on an exit, but to rather stick to a long time frame, years, if not decades, so that there's a very high chance that you exit with profit. So there's no liquidity there because you can't exit. You could, if you're lucky enough, within 10 years to of course to find a moment where it's in profit. There's a chance to exit, but there's no guarantee. In fact, it's not recommended at all to trade stocks with a short time frame, or to invest in stocks, I should say. Um, this EA, of course, offers full liquidity within 24 hours. Once you say withdraw the capital, it's withdrawn within 24 hours. So that's the beauty. With some stocks, you might be able to earn similar results if you're lucky. Other stocks would be worse off, though. Not all stocks are going to be that great. And the question is, will you have that ability to exit, on a day's moment? And that's what this EA offer. All EAs, well, this EA offers, not all EAs actually, because some EAs do go through some substantial drawdowns. And that's the second point I want to go through is the portfolio. We're working hard on that. We're testing it. Now we're running simulations, and we really hope to launch that in May or otherwise June, where there's a combination of 5 to 10 EAs trading our capital, and anyone who has risk capital that they can afford to lose can join. And it should be more consistent and less drawdowns, offering more liquidity, more easier to add and withdraw capitals as the traders please. All right. So with regard to the Zeus EA, I personally think I'm letting the capital grow. This floating loss did not change my opinion on that. All right. Now, with regard to portfolio, yeah, as I said, it should offer the same kind of consistency as Zeus EA. Other EAs have had, of course, stronger ups and downs, and makes it more difficult to see the long term sometimes. But that's why this portfolio approach will help. We will be including the EAs from Mislav Nikolic, which is Ultima EA and Rush EA and Ultimate EA Pro. We'll be including Zeus and my SWAT and maybe more EAs in the future. But of course, these EAs have to prove themselves first before we can do that. So that's hopefully coming soon. Very excited about that. Ultima EA, no substantial changes, I think. Last week there was a win, 2 losses and 1 win on the euro dollar. I see about minus 16 at this moment. Let's take a look at. We have 1 week left of trading, of course, a full week left in April, so we have to see. We still have plenty of time left in this month. Rush EA from Mislav Nikolic and Ultimate EA, both from him slightly down, 11.5. Then let's take a look at my SWAT-EA. Two SWAT-EAs actually. Break even. And this one has seen a nasty downside here. -12. Not off to a good start, the second one. And then, of course, last but not least, the LOA EA. +2, nothing special there. This one is certainly struggling. So far, not a good April. We have 1 week left. Only Zeus EA seems to be in positive territory at this moment. I can quickly check the DAX. And one DAX is up, luckily. The DAX 50-minute chart having a good +7. All right. Yeah, with regard to portfolio, we'll be basically splitting the risk, the capital over multiple EAs, so that there's could be quarters therefore that are around break even, but the moments where the EAs are struggling will be compensated with the ones that are doing okay, and then hopefully the moments where we have break evens on IAs or others are winning will give positive results. If we look at the simulations, basically we see most quarters, I think only 1 out of 20 was in negative territory, just a small loss. Others were in positive territory, either a small win or a decent win. On average, it was 100% per year. The worst year was +60. The best year was +150%. So an average of about 8%. That's non-compounded. So if it's, I believe, if I remember correctly, so if it's compounded, if the profits are reinvested, it should even be more. And because the capital is growing, so yeah, this is really, I think, a very consistent and less risky way of trading. So hopefully we'll see that in live trading too, of course. And I'm looking forward to starting that. That's about it for now. We're going to have next week a new webinar. Let me check if there are any questions. No, good. Next week we're going to have a new webinar, of course, on the usual Tuesday, the 4th of May. We're going to look at April. Hopefully these April numbers are going to be a little bit better. And hopefully we'll have a date within the next 2 weeks when we're launching the portfolio. And tomorrow we'll be back. No, Wednesday we'll be back with the new Euro Dollar Pound Dollar video. Ned will have his live webinar later today with his usual Monday trading ideas. And of course, in May, we're going to have all the usual webinars and videos as always. All right. So see you soon. Wish you all great trading. Cheers.